Good morning and welcome to Burns Bible Stories for Kids. I love doing this every Friday morning at 11 o'clock, and I'll just share a story with you from the Jesus Storybook Bible. My grandson Judah let me borrow that, and I'm supposed to mention that every week so he doesn't get mad at me because I haven't brought it back yet. All right, this week it's called The Forgiving Prince, and this is one of my favorite stories in the Old Testament, the story of Joseph, and it's from Genesis chapters 37 through 46. And I just want to share this with you. Jacob had 12 sons, but of all of his sons, Joseph was his favorite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a splendid new robe. It was beautiful and rich with all the colors of the rainbow, but it made Joseph's brothers jealous. They wanted rich rainbow robes too. And then to make matters worse, Joseph kept on having special dreams. I dreamed I was the greatest. I was king, he would tell his brothers, and all of you bowed down to me. Now, I'm sure you know, even if Joseph didn't at the time, but if you tell your brothers things like that, it's not a very good idea. And Joseph's brothers hated him even more. They wanted to kill Joseph and his dreams. And one day, that's exactly what they tried to do. They tore Joseph's robe off of him and sold him to slave traders for 20 pieces of silver. The traders took Joseph to Egypt and they made him into a slave. The brothers went home and lied to their father, telling him that Joseph was dead. That's the end of the dreamer, they thought, but they were wrong. God had a magnificent dream for Joseph's life, and even when it looked like everything had gone wrong, God would use it all to help make the dream come true. God would use everything that was happening to Joseph to do something good. Meanwhile, though, things were not looking good for Joseph in Egypt. He was far from home and from his dad. He got blamed for something he didn't do, and even though he had done nothing wrong, he was punished and thrown in jail. But God had not left Joseph. One night, Pharaoh, who was the king of Egypt, had a scary dream about thin cows gobbling up fat cows. What on earth did that mean? He had no idea. But Joseph was a dream expert. So Pharaoh sent for him. And Joseph told him, it means a famine is coming. There won't be enough food. Pharaoh was so pleased by Joseph's skill that he immediately took Joseph out of jail and made him a prince. Now back home, Joseph's brothers had run out of food. Everyone was hungry. God's special family was in danger. If they didn't get enough food soon, they would starve to death. So Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt to buy food. They came and knelt before the new prince, and his brothers had no idea that that prince was Joseph. But Joseph knew who they were. Joseph's dream, the one about his brothers bowing down to him, had come true. Joseph ended up crying, "It's me." When they saw it was Joseph, they were afraid. They had wronged Joseph. They had sinned, and they knew it. And now Joseph certainly would punish them. But Joseph looked at his brothers, his eyes filled with tears. Even though his brothers had hurt him and hated him and wanted him dead, in spite of everything, he couldn't stop loving them. His heart, which they had broken, filled up with love, and Joseph forgave them. Joseph threw his arms around them. He said, "Don't be afraid. Behind what you were doing, underneath everything that was happening, God was doing something good. God was making everything right again." Joseph didn't punish them. He rescued them. He brought God's special family to live safely with him in Egypt. One day, God would send another prince, a young prince whose heart would break. Like Joseph, he would leave his home and his father. His brothers would hate him and would want him dead. He would be sold for pieces of silver. He would be punished even though he had done nothing wrong. But God would use what happened to that prince and this young prince, even the bad things, to do something good, to forgive the sins of the world. Thank you so much for joining me for Burns Bible Story for Kids, and we'll do this again next Friday morning at 11 o'clock. I hope you'll join us.